Racing to the 2020 Kentucky Derby in Kentucky Oaks, and this time let's get your update for Friday, August the 21st. And this is where we start to take a look at the days away and how much rest between starts. And you can kind of see some of the patterns where some of these horses, again, have run their best speed figures. Speed figures need to be examined in the context of how many days away they've had, and in the context of the pace of the race, and in the context of how big the field size was and the race flow. So if you haven't watched the speed figure preview progression, watch that video. I will post that link above. And now today we take a look at the days away between starts. Let's start with Tiz the Law. A lot of people were waiting for that breakthrough Brisnet speed figure, and he finally got it with that 115 in the last race. And if you notice, that's where he finally, I've been saying all along, this is the most lightly raced, experienced horse there is. He had 56 days between his second and third starts, and then he had a layoff of 63 days before the Holy Bull. And then he had an 84-day layoff before the Belmont Stakes. And then he kindly got down back more to a normal progression, 49 days. And that's where he busted out with that 115 Brisnet speed figure in the most recent race, which was the Travers Stakes. And, you know, I think you're going to be sitting him right on it. This will be his fewest time between days rest. It's unusual that you're going to go from a 1.25 mile race to a 1.25 mile race. Meanwhile, you've got a horse like 1,000 Words. He had that layoff of 84 days, and he finally got it back together in the Los Ale Derby. Ran a good second to Uncle Chuck in a bad race flow that day, small field. And then came back on 28 days and fired that career top 104. Now Sole Volante, there's an example, 10 days rest. They had a 95 days off in that allowance win at Gulfstream, and then the 10-day turnaround. He's probably going to fire a good effort here. He's ran a couple of turf workouts. I really liked him a lot coming off of his Tampa Bay win, and I've got some futures kind of put him on the top of exactas at some longer odds, so I really don't need to cover him. But Sole Volante is very interesting to pick up the pieces for second, third, fourth, and who knows, if the pace is hot. I don't think the pace is going to be that hot. But the pattern is right. Max Player, that 140 days between the Withers and the Belmont Stakes, you know, that really was a big gap. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do. And then you got a horse like Authentic on a 42-day turnaround. That's where he fired a career top speed figure of a 107 in the Haskell Stakes. Art Collector, the big gap layoff, and then he had 169 days. Then boom, 27, 28, 29. He's sitting on a good pattern. I'm not sure he's going to, you know, he's had good race flows and he seems to be improving. I think that 104, 105 is kind of really where he's at right now, but we'll see, especially at a 1.25 miles. And then you got Honor A.P., another one of the top contenders. When you look at where he's at, that big layoff going into the Santa Anita Derby, and then he came back and you know, 146 days, 91 days, 56 days to the shared belief. Now he's going to have his quickest turnaround, and that's where I think you're going to see a career top out of Honor A.P. I think King Gallarmo is sitting on a pattern of a good top, but he's got the big gap in days, so is he going to be able to fire that career top with that long gap? Again, you got to look at where they're at on their speed figures, how much they're consolidating, and then the days away to kind of really see who you think can get a career top race. Where another horse, you know, sitting New York traffic, 55, 35, 35, 63, 56 days. You know, that's why I think he's been able to get those career tops. Now he's got a nice gap again from the Haskell to the Kentucky Derby. So maybe he'll be able to consolidate and run a 103 or 104. I'm not sure there's a lot more improvement off that 107 in the last race. So that's a look at, you know, now watch that video with the Brisnet speed figures, see the progression in the speed, see how it matches up with the days away, and now we just got to wait for the post positions and some of the other things. Jockeys, some announcements this week on the jockeys. John Velasquez going to ride Authentic, which is going to be interesting for Bob Baffert. and some of the other jockeys starting to be lined up now, so we'll find out those. Corey Lannery getting them out on Cheryl Spate, as Cheryl Spate is in the Derby. The only one we're waiting on is Rushy, so it looks like we're going to have about 19 horses right now, maybe 20. We're still waiting to see a few other horses to totally commit, but some other horses have committed, and it looks like we're going to have that 19-20 horse field depending on what happens the final week. Continue to stay up to date on the Kentucky Derby 2020. Hit subscribe, share this video with other horse racing friends, and ring that bell with notifications. Days between starts, and examining that today on the Kentucky Derby Update.